Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a nice day, a nice Friday. I'm here with my friend Sandy, and Sandy is looking for a forever home. She's one of our newbies. She's about 3 to 4 years of age. She is perfect in every way. And yes, I know she's not a Cocker Spaniel. She's just 100% perfect. She weighs about 16 pounds. She's sweet. She's people friendly. She's dog friendly. She's just lovely. So please spread the word. Let's get some adoption applications coming in on Sweet Sandy. What do you think, honey? What do you think? Okay, I'm going to put her down. She wants to get down. You don't want to get down? You can stay right here. You can do whatever you want. So I have some updates about Camp Cocker Rescue. As some of you know, we did have to close intakes for a month. We reopened intakes after we had a big fundraising push. And we got our debt cleared. And so we reopened intakes after our debt was cleared. And then we rescued. Since then, we've had 6 new dogs come into Camp Cocker. Not a single one of them is a Cocker Spaniel. And unfortunately, that's because there's just not a lot. There's not Cocker Spaniels in our local shelters anymore. And this is great. I'm super happy. That's a quality problem to have as a breed rescue, that you can't find your breed in shelters. That's fantastic. But unfortunately, the 6 new intakes that we got, we haven't had a single application on any of them. So, and those new dogs ran up our vet debt again. And one of them was, hi Sandy, one of them was a back surgery dog, little Dolce. And her surgery and her MRI, I think, was $12K. And then PT costs. So we have to close intakes one more time. And this time feels like it's going to be a much longer pause on intakes. Adoptions have slowed down from September 9th until today. We've only had 1 adoption application come in. And to give you some ideas of, or perspective, this generally takes about 20 applications to result in 1 adoption. So why does it take so many adoption applications to result in 1 adoption? Many reasons. Sometimes people apply and they go through the whole screening process, which takes up a lot of our volunteers' resources and time. We do vet checks, reading the application, which takes us as long. Probably we read these applications very thoroughly and detailed, and multiple people are reading them. To do a Zoom interview, to do a home check, to match up a dog to adopters, and then sometimes adopters get a dog somewhere else. So that happens quite often, where people are applying at multiple rescue groups, and it's disappointing that when our time is sucked up by people who end up adopting elsewhere, but at least they're adopting elsewhere. At least they're adopting, so that's good. Other reasons that some of these applicants don't adopt from us is that we just can't meet their expectations. And it's no reflection of the applicants. Some people have expectations of what they want in a dog that we don't have. We can't make them happy. So we hope that those applicants adopt elsewhere. And then there are some people who apply that just, they have a lot of love to give, and we assume that every single person who ever applies to adopt from us, we start from the assumption that everyone is a good person with a lot of love to give and has good intentions. But sometimes people are not prepared for the breed, the Cocker Spaniel breed, which is a really expensive breed to own. and prone to a lot of medical issues. Sometimes there's other reasons that these applicants may not be right for one of our dogs. And that's just one example, is if they can afford the commitment to one of our dogs for the rest of that dog's life. And what's interesting, I see a lot of conversation online where people are disgruntled and complaining about the high cost of veterinary care. And yes, I understand the cost to own a pet has gone up probably 60% since the pandemic, and especially for healthcare services for your animals. However, I understand why veterinary expenses have risen so much. So there's a few things at play. One is there was a massive influx of new pet owners in 2020 and 2021. I wish they all adopted, but many people bought puppies from breeders. So the breeders did really well during the pandemic. So there's more demand than ever for veterinary services, but there's not enough vets graduating from vet school every year to keep up with that demand. So we have a vet shortage. So what does a vet shortage do to increase prices that pet owners are paying? What is happening is, for a hospital, I'm just speaking, like, for example, Los Angeles hospitals. There's many hospitals that are not staffed. They're understaffed to meet the demand of their clients. And to staff up and get qualified veterinarians and registered vet techs, they have to overpay to attract employees and staff from other hospitals. So the price to hire a veterinarian or any qualified specialist is going up for hospitals. Everything else is going up. Cost of supplies to run a hospital, cost of materials, everything, that all the materials and supplies and drugs, everything has gone up. Rent has gone up. The price of real estate has gone up. If a vet wanted to open an animal hospital right now in Los Angeles, I don't even know how they could do it. Unless they had family money. I don't know how a veterinarian could open a new hospital. I just don't even see how it's possible in 2025, how anyone could afford to do that in a big city like Los Angeles. So yes, pet owners are struggling to pay for major medical bills, and this is why we're encouraging everyone who adopts to please, as part of your monthly budget for pet insurance. And pet insurance policies are rising as well. You can be looking to pay $200 to start for a good policy, and if you're getting, depending on the age of the dog or the breed of the dog, it could be $250, it could be $300. So basically the cost of owning a pet is going up. And at the same time, we've seen this since February of this year. Donations have dropped, adoptions have dropped, prices are going up, and it all feels economic, and people are scared. I understand. I have never been so scared about the future of Camp Cocker as I am right now. So I understand why people are complaining about the high cost of vet bills, but veterinarians can't charge any less than what their overhead is their overhead determines their prices, So there's that. So we have to, once again, pause intakes, close intakes, and I am seeing, if we can't get dogs adopted, we have too many dogs right now. So I am actively looking to find rescue partners in Canada. If we can find any good rescue partners in Canada, there's so many good people in Canada that used to adopt dogs from us when we had a rescue partner in British Columbia years ago. And that rescue organization is no longer active. But there were years when we were getting fantastic adopters in Canada as a result of that rescue partnership. I would like to find some new rescue partners in Canada. Another goal, and I've been talking about this a lot lately, is that we need a rescue facility for our hard to adopt dogs or long-term dogs or unadoptable dogs. And that's really, if we are getting closer and closer to becoming a rescue that can't get dogs adopted, then the only future for us is to have a rescue facility. And if we can get a rescue facility, then I would, instead of rescuing young dogs with the goal of getting them adopted, I would be able to say yes to all of the 15-year-old hospice dogs and the old seniors, and those are my favorite, the seniors. One of our new dogs that we just took in is a senior named Bella, and she has not had one single adoption application. The seniors are very hard to get adopted. So that would be how I would pivot Camp Cocker, since it's looking more and more like our old model was rescue dogs, rehab them, adopt them out, repeat. And if right now we're rescuing new dogs, rehabbing them, but then they don't get adopted out, we are stuck. So the future for Camp Cocker is going to hinge on if we can get a rescue facility. And if we can, we will now start being able to, we would then be able to say yes to a lot more senior dogs, senior Cocker Spaniels, senior little gray-faced mutts, but we would not be actively looking to take in younger dogs with the goal to get them adopted unless we can find some new rescue partners in Canada to help absorb some of the adoptable age dogs. So how can we get to having a rescue facility? It's through our monthly donors. That's it. We have to increase our monthly donors, and our newsletter goes out to almost 5,000 people. If every single one of them just signed up for $10 a month to be, our monthly giving program is called the Campers. And if you'd like to join it, you can become a camper. But if every single person who receives our newsletter were to sign up for $10 a month, that's 36 cents a day, that would be life-changing for us. Truly, it would be life-changing for the future of Camp Cocker. 36 cents a day doesn't sound a lot, but I feel for a lot of people right now who are having economic fears. I get it, because we're having those same fears. But so the good news, the great news is we have a new matching donor who's matching up to $15,000 in either one-time donations. So if you donate right now, your donation will be matched, or they will match up to 3 months in a row of any new monthly donations. So instead of donating $30 today, if you instead sign up to donate $10 a month, your first 3 months will be matched. And then our hope is that you will continue to donate $10 a month ongoing. And $10 doesn't sound like a lot, but on an ongoing basis, that's $120 a year. It adds up. So really, now is the time to consider joining our monthly giving program, the Campers. Or if you really just can't donate $10 a month and you just want to donate one time today, your donation today will be matched. So thank you so much. And lastly, actually 2 more things. So much to talk about. We have not been able to rescue very many Cockers locally because they're just not in shelters. The Cockers we've taken in that were owner relinquishments are not getting adopted. We still have 2 young dogs that we took in from owners in May, and it's now September. So there's not cockers to be rescued here locally in California. Actually, one of our owner relinquishments came from New Orleans, and he's in Dallas right now waiting for adoption. So because we are a breed rescue group, and that's our mission, and most of our supporters are Cocker Spaniel lovers, we have still been committing to new Cocker Spaniels in South Korea and Mongolia. We have several in the queue. I call them in the queue. So, for example, we just committed to a Cocker Spaniel in Mongolia last week, and he will be in Mongolia for 4 months going through the process to get. The CDC has some very strict regulations for any dogs coming to us from Mongolia. And so it's about 4 months that the dog will be in Mongolia going through the rabies vaccines, rabies titer testing, and be able to exit Mongolia. And we have dogs in South Korea that we've committed to that are waiting to travel here October, November, December. So we do have Cocker Spaniels. They're just not here right now. And but sadly, we are going to have to pause new intakes until all the dogs in the queue can arrive here and get adopted. So currently we have, if you're looking for a Cocker Spaniel and you don't see one on our website that you like, please apply anyway, because we have dogs coming that maybe we can match you up with. And this is the last thing. And this has been on my mind for quite a while, but the municipal shelters all over the U.S. have been in a crisis for quite some time. Every time I go to a shelter, it's 90% large breed dogs. And it's, as someone who I just love dogs, and I'm an empath, it's not in my lane. The Huskies, the Rottweilers, the Pit Bulls, all these large breed dogs, they're not in my lane, but it affects me. And I have empathy for the plight of all these large breed dogs. There are more dogs entering the shelters every day than are leaving. And there is a finite amount of homes available who can absorb a large breed dog. Not everyone has the lifestyle to handle a high energy dog like a Husky or a German Shepherd. Not everyone has the ability to adopt these large breed dogs. So spay-neuter is the only way. Prevention is the only way to stop the massive euthanasia of all of these large breed dogs in our shelters. And in Los Angeles City and LA County, every day there's like boxes of large breed dogs showing up every single day. Either pregnant dogs showing up that give birth in the shelter. Every single day there are more large breed dogs entering the shelters than are leaving. There are, you know, the puppies that we have right now, Sandy's puppies, almost every single shelter in Los Angeles or Los Angeles County has puppies that look exactly like them. And chances are they may not even leave the shelter. They may end up getting euthanized. What happens is, as soon as puppies enter a shelter and they get sick or they get parvo, they get euthanized. And that's just, it's a crisis. So large breed dogs are not in my lane, but I care about them, and I want to be involved in the solution. So this is, like I said, totally outside of my lane, none of my business. Large breed dogs getting euthanized are not my business, but I want to solve that problem. I can't solve it by myself. It's going to take hundreds of thousands of rescuers exactly like me trying to do a small part to start to offer spay-neuter services in areas where the need is so high. So I don't think Camp Cocker supporters are necessarily going to want to donate monthly to a spay-neuter program. So and I understand, because it's just a completely different direction to take our nonprofit in. However, I've been working with our vet. She's been helping me with a budget for what it would cost to do spay neuter pop-ups. And I'm looking at either probably starting in the Los Angeles County shelter that has the highest euthanasia rate right now of large breeds, and that's up in Lancaster, California. So I'm working on a budget for a grant, and then I'm going to start submitting a grant proposal to as many funders and foundations that I can find online. If you work for a company or a corporation that might sponsor a spay neuter pop-up, I have the approximate budget to spay, and I want to focus on spay neutering for free in low-income areas, dogs that are 40 pounds and more. I want to start with that group, because that's the group that's making new litters, and then more of those litters are making more litters, and then boxes of puppies are showing up in the shelters and they're being euthanized. So I want to start with dogs 40 pounds and up. The budget I have it works out to be approximately $250 per dog. And if I do 100 dogs in one pop-up, that would require 2 or 3 vets, probably 3 veterinarians, several registered vet techs, and supplies, anesthesia, drugs, fluids. Actually, I don't know if we're going to do fluids. Pain meds to go home with, antibiotics. So that number of $250 a dog is an average, because some dogs may only cost $150 or $200, but other dogs, like for example, if a male dog needs a crypt orchid surgery, that's abdominal surgery, and that's a much different surgery than a straightforward neuter. So the average is going to be $250 a dog. So to do 100 dogs in one pop-up, one spay neuter pop-up day, would cost $25,000 for one day to do 100 dogs. The result of spaying and neutering 100 large breed dogs is going to have an effect a year later in that shelter district. And if we can start doing these pop-ups multiple days a month, it's just slowly the effects of spaying and neutering the communities that need it the most with the large breed dogs is going to directly affect the intake numbers of those shelters of large breed dogs 6 months, 12 months, 18 months later. The solution to our pet overpopulation crisis is only one solution, and it's spay neuter. It's prevention. That's the only solution. No matter what anyone else says, prevention is the only solution. Our shelters are over a boiling point. I mean, they're in crisis. And it's not the small breed dogs getting euthanized, it's large breed dogs. So what I want to ask, if anyone is, if you know any funders, if you know any foundations that might sponsor one spay neuter pop-up day, or sponsor half of it. I mean, if I can get 2 funders to each pay for half of a spay neuter pop-up day, that would be $12,500 each. Or if one funder wants to pay for one whole day, maybe you work at a corporation or a company that might want to sponsor one of these days or sponsor half of the dogs. Please let me know, email me. I should have my grant and my budget ready soon, and I'm going to start submitting my grant to as many online foundations that I can find. And also, if anyone is looking for a volunteer opportunity, the number one need for this program is to have just people anywhere, wherever you live, just start going online and looking for foundations that will support spay-neuter services, because those are the funders that we need to submit this grant to. So thank you so much for your support, everyone. Thank you to our matching donors. Thank you to the campers. last time I checked, our campers, which are our monthly donors, we are at 22% of our monthly goal in order to get a facility. We need to reach 100% of our monthly goal before we can spend the money to go and lease out a facility or a property. And until we get to our goal of monthly donors, we just are going to keep asking for donations. But campers, our monthly donors, you're going to save our rescue group. You guys, you're going to do it, because we don't want to close Camp Cocker. We just have to adapt to the new reality. And the new reality is we really cannot get dogs adopted like we used to, and we have to get a facility. And then once we have a facility, we're going to change who we rescue, and we're going to be rescuing the seniors and the hospice dogs that no one really will ever adopt. So thank you for your support. Have a good Friday. Have a good weekend. Thank you.